Ah. Tommy, what do you think you're doing? Me? Oh, I'm just drinking a cup of highly caffeinated coffee. Wait, you think that caffeine is bad for kids? Let me enlighten you. Did you know that the amount of kids that are affected by high cholesterol are 5 times the number of kids affected by caffeine? Yet, if I were to eat an egg, no one would say anything. In fact, an egg has a total of 186 milligrams of cholesterol, which is absurdly high for the recommended 150 milligrams one should be eating a day at max. Ladies and gentlemen, we use these arguments, even though we just make them up, to fully convince our parents into letting us drink coffee. Believe it or not, they fell for it. That's right. We managed to fully convince our parents into letting us drink a dangerous amount of caffeine, all by just using our words. When you say words in a specific way, you can have the power to alter a person's way of thinking, just like we do with our parents. When you're conscious of your words and how to use them, you'll be granted the power to inspire, the power to hurt, and the power to persuade. This is the power of words. Now, let's take a deeper look at this. Specifically, let's go back to 1776. At this juncture, America stood at the precipice of rebellion against British oppression, where violence was not a solution. This is when Thomas Jefferson founded a vital document that would change America forever, the Declaration of Independence. With its eloquent language, its persuasive arguments, and its intent to break free from British law, it forever changed the country, all by just using words. We can also include an example of the Treaty of Versailles, which ended one of the bloodiest wars in history, World War I. It was created using a series of discussions, arguments, and overall words. You see, both of these examples saved millions upon millions of lives, and they can save yours too. Let's get into that. First, let's look into the power to hurt. It can be divided into many different parts. When you verbally insult a person, it alters their emotions, changing their mental state from positive to negative. It can make a person feel insecure. It can make a person feel overwhelmed with themselves. It can make a person feel sad. Let me tell you a story about a boy named Matt. This is Matt. Meet Matt, a diligent student who was constantly well recognized at all of the school ceremonies with certificates and awards. However, his reputation took an unexpected turn when one day Matt excelled in math class, earning straight A's. This led to jealousy among his classmates, who labeled him a nerd. Bullies in his class started tormenting him and pressuring him to do their work. And so Matt's desire to fit in, his desire to be liked, his desire to gain approval, his desire to avoid being called this singular word, drove him to take drastic measures. In a desperate attempt to fit in, Matt purchased a vape, showcasing it in school and performing tricks to gain approval. This led... Unfortunately, Matt became addicted to vaping and eventually faced the consequence of it. But one day, I witnessed something, a sudden turn of events. The girl that sat next to Matt in class complimented him, calling him smart, instead of his fearful label that had tormented him all this time. And so, at this moment, Matt realized he simply wanted to be acknowledged. Not for the wrong things, but for what he was truly good at. He's smart. He simply needed a compliment for being himself, not a vape addict. Matt had been changed entirely by a word, but reversed back to normality with another. Now, the point of this story is not to address peer pressure or bullying, but more so to address the importance that words play in our daily lives and how fast they can change someone's mindset, just like it did with Matt's. Now, I want you all to imagine this. Imagine you had 16,000 seconds left to live. 4 hours and 30 minutes. You'd probably spend them trying to do the most inspiring, exciting, and positive activities, right? Well, similarly, us humans say about 16,000 words every single day. Why waste them saying negative comments when you have the power to say the most inspiring, positive, and exciting word-filled speeches every single day? In Matt's case, just one out of those 16,000 changed him completely. But how exactly can we use words to create great change? Change that could potentially transform the world. I quote, "I have a dream that one day this nation will live up to the true meaning of its creed." Martin Luther King. Sounds inspiring, doesn't it? This iconic quote from the peacemaker Martin Luther King was one of the many he used in his speech that led the United States of America into prosperity. Segregation slowly began to disappear after the speech. The speech was not the only thing that played a role, but it was a beginning of change. The inspiration it shed on citizens became a motivating factor to the Great Racism. The world-filled speech, focused on purely inspiring, became a determining factor in creating a change. And so just like Martin Luther King had a dream, you do too. All that's left is to speak. Inspire yourself. Inspire others with your dream and watch it blossom. Because if you have the right motivation, you will see all the petals in your dream come true. So, to conclude, the power of words is something that is truly incredible. Its possibilities are endless. So let's use them for good. The next time you find yourself wanting to end conflict, use the power of words. The next time you want to get the best out of somebody, use the power of words. The next time you want to transform someone's day, even if it means a single compliment, use the power of words. Or even the next time you want to get something out of your parents that you know you really shouldn't have, use the power of words. Use the power of words and use it wisely to end war like Versailles, to unify a country like Martin Luther King or like us, to speak to you all at this very moment. Now that is an idea worth spreading. Thank you.